Okay, whereupon?
Hello.
Yes, we are ready to go. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, welcome everyone again to join us for the online meditation sessions in March. Let's have a look today what Ajahn will show us and to teach us. He already prepared a lot of presentation, so let's go for it.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. So this is mid-March. The sun is rising now, getting more warmer. So now it's time to warm us up. Okay. So before we go into the study, so this is going to be the first time using a PowerPoint and letting you study the concept and going into the scripture straight away. So before that, let's practice for a while. Okay, so sitting in a comfortable position. So sitting in a comfortable position and just bring your attention to the sitting posture. And keep your attention to the breath as it comes in and as it goes out. So mindfully attending your attention to the breath. So you may take a long, deep breath just to relax the body. And experiencing the body as you are sitting. So initially, we are intentionally watching the breath, keeping the mind on the breath. So wherever you feel that as a place to start. Not paying attention to the outside object. No trying to force the breath. Just feel that. Now this time, as you settle down and grounded your attention on the breath, and it is obvious that some other experiences may appear. And that time, do not struggle to let go of that attention, that experience. Leave paying attention to on the breath and turn our attention to the newly aroused experience. And mostly that would be a physical sensation that occurs. Could be a discomfort, your sitting posture, or in your back, or in your hands. So observing them. as we discussed and practiced last session, observing the body parts and noticing the bodily sensations. So this time, as we are observing those sensations in our body, noticing what do we feel when we are noticing the sensation? What is the emotion there? What is your emotion to it? How do you relate to it? So in the practice of a meditation, particularly Buddhist meditation or Buddhist mindfulness practice, every emotions, we pay attention to it equally as it is a breath. As we like to pay attention to the breath so that we can get the calm and peaceful state of the mind, and we try to avoid any other distractions, similar attitude we have to develop to the any emotions, any feelings, any experiences as it arises, kindly, calmly, attending our attention attentively to that moment and experiencing it. Try not to avoid any emotions or experiences to replace with something. We are not trying to replace with anything. So as we are experiencing any emotions, do not try to block it. Do not try to escape from it. And do not try to push it away. So no judgment on it, no evaluation, no preference at all. We are simply noticing it as they occur. Suppose some thoughts of a disappointment arises in your mind, then so be it. Do not try to dig, detail, or do not try to escape. Do not try to run away. So be it that I am experiencing this disappointment feeling, this emotion. When we are noticing of that emotions, see that how that relates to your body, how that relates to your mind, and how this unfolds. So sitting like an example that I normally gave, sitting at the bank of the river, watching the river flow. All you're doing is observing objectively whatever is happening and the connection with that emotion. The connection with the body, connection with the mind, connection with the relationship in between. And that moment, we have the breath as the central point, always connected to the breath, whether in your nose or in your belly, or just to feel the breath body as a foundation, as a ground, observing all these interrelationship between the body, feeling, mind, and the phenomena. So as we are sitting here, calmly, peacefully, having a breath as a foundation, and learning to notice all other experiences that is arising, and try to observe our relationship with that, which is a form of emotion or different feelings, and see how that unfolds. So take a few long, deep breaths. Bring your attention to your eyes. And as you bring your attention to your eyes, noticing the intention to open your eyes, and slowly open your eyes. Come out from the meditation. Right, so before moving on to today's presentation, do any one of you have got anything to share or anything to ask, or you want to wait? Any sharing, any questions? Just you can unmute yourself and share. Okay, that means no. Everybody want to see. Okay, right. Where is that? How do you do this one? Presenters view. That's Microsoft. Oh. Can you see? Yeah. Okay. Good. So this is the satipatthana. Maybe I better move to the top, right? Somewhere here. Okay, so this is the satipatthana that we are going to study today. Satipatthana is one of the well-known discourse and widely translated and widely used discourse in Buddhism, and in modern days, not only in Buddhism, but also in the secular mindful practice. Okay? Now, satipatthana is a combination of 3 words, satipatthana. Okay? I think here is much better to see. Satipatthana can be seen in 2 forms, sati upatthana or satipatthana or satipatthana. Okay? So both comes in a similar way. Sati upatthana is remembering or remember, and that is upatthana means arising. Right? So arising of the mindfulness, the first meaning. And whereas the second one is a foundation where we establish mindfulness. Right? So here, that's why sati is a presence of a mind. It is a state of attentiveness in the present moment. It is awareness, awakeness, and heedfulness. So each word has got a deep meaning, and the word sati. Wakefulness basically also means alertness. When we see things, when we hear, when we smell, when our body comes to contact with that moment, we are alert to notice it immediately, ability to recognize it straight away. Now, whereas heedfulness, that means we are always mindful of our actions. It's not about remembering the past, and it's not about worrying the future, but it is about ability to be mindful of every action that we are taking place at this very present moment. Okay? So that is the sati. Now, patthana is a form or a platform that we apply to establish. So that's what satipatthana is famously translated in 3 different ways. One is known as the foundation of mindfulness. A foundation of a mindfulness. The second one, the establishment of mindfulness. The third, arousing of mindfulness. So foundation, establishment, and arousing. Foundation as a base where mindfulness arises. Establishment, we basically paying attention to it, and that's how we establish. And arousing, through combination of our awareness of the objects, mindfulness develops. Okay? So this is the meaning of a satipatthana in different ways. An English translation mainly used in 3 different ways. Okay. Now, satipatthana in a Buddhist term, it comes in many different places, and it forms as the path to awakening. It is the 7 factors of Eightfold Noble Path called Samma Sati, and it is also the 3rd factor of 5 strength and 5 faculties. This is again very important factor to develop our mindfulness and our confidence and our faith in the Dhamma, and so that comes in the 3rd factor. And in terms of the Bojjhanga, which is the path to enlightenment factor, then it is the 1st factor, which is the very strong mindfulness, which is very alertness at all the costs. So that is the state where the mindfulness or satipatthana is located. Now, before going into the patthana, let's have a look at the word sati, or the mindfulness. Now that means it's not a wobbliness like a pumpkin on the river that will be a hollow pumpkin that's moving along with the water, so floating along with the water. Whereas mindfulness is not about floating along with the water, but ability to recognize what is flowing but not following. Like when we are paying attention to the breath, whether it is in our nose or in our abdomen, we are able to establish our awareness on that particular state so that we can gain the concentration. An ability to recognize that is happening, ability to notice and observe what's happening at the same time. And there again, you are face to face. When it is rising, it is rising. When it is falling off the abdomen, it is falling. When breath coming in through the nose, we are there. When breath coming out from the nose, we are there. We are not like, oh, it's gone, and then remembering that, oh, it was like that, or it is going to happen. There is no such thing, but you are face to face there, attending and knowing that. And then again, not only you are face to face, but also whenever it comes, you are there to notice. It's like a security guard. The security guard knows who is coming, who is going, and ability to recognize that this person is our staff and this person is not our staff, or maybe customer, like that. So ability to recognize that straight away. And then there's perception of a strong perception about that particular object too. Okay? So that's why when we look at from 4 different dimensions as a characteristics of a mindfulness or the sati, that means non-wobbliness. Okay? It's not wobbly. It's not going along with it. In terms of the function, there is no confusion. There is no forgetting. It's not forget like this normally happens when we are practicing walking meditation. Suppose we are walking meditation on the second stage of a walking meditation. Somehow, because of the thought seeps into our mind, and then we are thinking and we lost our concentration, then we realize, oh, I forgot. Or I forgot that I am walking on the second stage of a walking meditation. And sometimes you are, suppose you are walking on a second stage of a walking meditation, but somehow your attention moves into the first stage of a walking meditation, and that is happens, and that is called a forgetful. Whereas the sati is non-forgetting. So you are constantly aware that you are walking in a second stage of a walking meditation, and you are doing second stage of a walking meditation. Okay? In terms of the manifestation, so it's being here and now at the very moment, in the present object, whatever is taking place face to face, an ability to remain with that object, not a past object or a future object, but there. And in terms of the proximate cause, so the proximate cause is sorry. So in terms of the approximate cause is a strong perception of the object. So that basically means having a one-pointed awareness on that particular object. And that object normally in the practice of Buddhist meditation comes the 4 foundations of mindfulness. That's a body, feeling, mind, and phenomena, or the Dhamma. And Buddha clearly said in that discourse the benefit of a mindfulness meditation. The one is a purification of a being. So we will be purified from our views, our perceptions, our all wrongdoings, and overcoming our sorrow, lamentation. So we're able to overcome these through the practice of a mindfulness, and then destruction of any physical pain. And here again, we have to remember, not all types of a physical pain we can come out. We can overcome from that. No, just some. Okay, just some. Like me, despite of having a severe back pain, I can overcome that back pain whenever I feel it. Or whenever we have some physical or like illnesses at that time, also physical illnesses, by being mindful, you can overcome that too, because there are so many diseases that we get that is simply because of the psychophysical illnesses, and that can be overcome by practice of a mindfulness meditation. And here again, destruction of a mental diseases, distress. Here again, it's not all types of mental illnesses, but certain illnesses cannot be overcome by it if that's too severe. So there is guidelines in the modern secular mindfulness that if you have a severe mental illnesses, then you should go to the GP or get the proper medicine before you come to practice meditation. And then entering of the right path. The sixth one is basically finding the right path that leads to the nibbana, which is the last one, the nibbana. So these are the 7 benefits of a mindfulness meditation that the Buddha described. And in the meantime, one thing that we have to remember here, that the Buddha said that the satipatthana is a direct path, called the ekayano. So it comes in the satipatthana saying that ekayano ayang bhikkhave maggo, which means that this is the only way, a direct path for the purification and attainment of a nibbana. Right? So this is quite interesting, a topic that we should be pondering and thinking, that why this is the direct path or only path that leads to the liberation, right? Leads to the free all these 7 achievements. So the reason behind it, ekayano eka means one, ayana means going, and magga means the path. And it is not like in a way that this is the only one, but this is the only one because it is a single way. There is no branches. From the beginning of walking on this path, that is channeling or leading to the liberation for sure. There is no other diverted aims on it. Once you have started working on it, it will lead to the liberation. And here the second one, again, no one will be with you, walking with you. You have to walk alone. So must walk alone. So that's why it's sometimes called a lonely path. Lonely path. You have to do it yourself. DIY. Do it yourself. Nobody can do it for you. And the third way is that this is the path that the Buddha have chosen to walk and found the liberation. So that's why this is what the Buddha taught. And this is the path that leads to the Nibbana. And once we have walked on this path, there's only one destination, that is the Nibbana. Okay? So that's why the Satipatthana is known as ekayano, or only path, or direct path to the Nibbana. Now, it comes to the practice. So Buddha gave this clear instruction that how one should practice. And in terms of the practice, the Buddha said that first, aranyagato, go to the jungle, go to the forests. Rukkamula gato, go to under the tree. And sunyakara gato, go to the empty house. And these 3 requirements would be very difficult to fulfill for us in a modern day. So basically what we have to do is, using the place that we have, let us free from any disturbances and conducive for the practice of a meditation. That is more enough. And here again, not taking any jobs or any duties that you are responsible at that time of the meditation. Yeah? And then that's the moment of a practice. So that's why if we want to practice meditation to begin with, first of all, we have to have a conducive state or place to practice. Now, as we know, there are 2 types of meditation. Right? One is called a samatha meditation, which is the concentration meditation, or lead to the calmness, which also known as tranquility or serenity, basically having a one-pointed attention. So mind is one, and then there is an object. So only 2 objects are there. face to face. And that's how one attains the tranquility and concentration. And that state has got the different stages called the jhana, absorptions. Basically, there are eight types of absorptions one can attain. Started from just having a one-pointed attention to the object, like let's say a breath. You're able to pay attention to the breath so deeply. There is no distractions, and ability to calm all the hindrances, ability to suppress all the hindrances, and that's how one will gain the different jhanas. And this is the practice that the Buddha practiced before he became the Buddha. So it was practiced in the past, even before the Buddha. That's why when the Buddha, after left the palace, went on searching for the ways to liberate himself, he went on practicing this practice with so many different teachers. And now the practice can be anything. Any object can be a subject of a meditation, but in the commentaries, particularly the commentary called the Visuddhimagga, the path of purification, categorized into 40 different types of objects. Now here, 40 different types of object doesn't mean only 40 types of objects. Each object has got, again, a different insight into it and different ways that one can practice. So basic way of understanding of samatha meditation is that any object can be subject of meditation. That's all. Yeah, that's all is enough to understand. And that basically is to suppress all the 5 hindrances, like sensual pleasure, the thought of ill will, restlessness of our mind, drowsiness of our mind, and also the doubts on the practice, on the teacher, on the teachings, and so on. So we will be able to suppress it, and we will be in ecstasy, complete, zoned in. Sometimes I use a simile of you're taking a substance and go into the trance. So that is the state of a samatha meditation. And next, the second meditation we call vipassana meditation. And this is what the Buddha found in his practice, in his day of enlightenment. And this is the practice called vipassana. And that leads to the insight of the true nature, understanding the nature of anicca, dukkha, and anatta, which means all things change. Subject to change is inability to accept that change causes the suffering, and things that always constantly changes we cannot claim as the permanent entity. So that's called a non-self or not anatta. Okay? Anatta means no self. And in this practice, like unlikely in the samatha meditation, you have to have a one object. So there is one mind, one object. Whereas here, one mind, many objects. So your mind is attending there and observing all other phenomena, all other subjects or experiences arises. You're simply paying attention to it, observing it, noticing it, and understanding, investigating. So-called manasikara, wise reflection is there. Wise attention is there, and that ability to see through behind the curtain, so whole that the process. So that's why in the practice of a vipassana meditation, there is a one mind, many objects. Okay, not just a one mind and one object like the samatha meditation. And in the samatha meditation, we are suppressing these 5 hindrances for temporarily. As soon as we come out from the meditation, all the defilements, all the hindrances comes to inaction again. Whereas in a vipassana meditation, we are destroying or overcoming these 5 hindrances one after another and all other defilements like a greed, hatred, and delusion. So we are overcoming that and which is the path that leads to the Makkapala or the Nibbana. So that's why this is the two types of a meditation and two different ways of practicing, and the attainments are different too. Now, when we look at the scripture, we see that what is a samatha, or what is a concentration? Then Buddha simply said that it is a state of properly standing or steadied, standing, or basically having a one object and standing with a one object, ability to be with a one object and settling with it. So sitting on it, right? And then unified, being a one with the object. Mind is like you cannot differentiate between mind and object. So there's only one there, unified. So both are coming into a one state, composed. So that is the state we call the samatha, or being unified. Mind is unified with the object, and that is the state called samatha. Right? So while I am explaining, if you have any thing that you would like to ask, you can just raise your hand, okay? You can interrupt at any moment, because this is for the first time after 3 years, we are going into the scripture like detail. Samahita chittang, so the unified mind. So the unification of the mind and object is the samatha. And the vipassana is different. See, vipassana, according to the scripture, it says sankhara, to be seen. Sankhara here means condition. The condition factors to be seen. And then ability to investigate that condition. Sankhara is condition, conditioning factor. So we able to see that conditioning factor and ability to investigate that factor. And then not only able to investigate that conditioning factors, but also able to define and distinguish each factors. Like, let's say when we see an object, there are a few things comes together. Number one is I. Number two is object, visible object. Number three, there is a consciousness. There is a mind that attending to that object. And then you have a perception of that object. And when you have the perception of that object, you recognize that object. When you recognize that object, then again, you bring your memories of that object, and goes on like that. So able to see different layers of it. In a short form, ability to see that mind that is looking at is one thing, the object that being observed or looked at it is different, and a consciousness that is linking the eye and then the visible object is different. Or in a short term, mind body. So mind is something, the material is another. So ability to distinguish that is the vipassana. And that's how we will not have any attachment to anything. We will not have any grasping nature on to any experiences that we experience in our life. So vipassana, now this is the Buddhist meditation that Buddha found in his enlightenment. So after he gave up palace life, went on searching for the liberation. During that time, he practiced samatha meditation. And after practicing that, on the moment of enlightenment, he attained this liberation through so-called vipassana. Okay, so vipassana, vi means clearly, distinctively, or specially, and passana means seeing or experiencing, right? Or experiencing. So therefore, vipassana means to see things clearly, or to see things as they truly are. And you may have heard me repeating, or you may have heard somebody is teaching or in the books, that practice of a mindfulness meditation is to see things as they truly are. Okay? So that is. And it is to attain the insight of the true nature, a true nature of a reality that is impermanence, suffering, and non-self. So it is called, another way it is called the insight meditation. Right? So that's why it is called insight meditation. Insight meditation. So you are going into insight, insight the nature of the truth. So going into insight. And that's why the Buddhist meditation mostly emphasize on insight meditation. Here, if you look at from the 4 different categories, before going into that, the specific word is known as vividha karena anicca-divasena passatiti vipassana. So seeing indistinctively the nature of a change in different ways is vipassana. In terms of the characteristics of the vipassana is seeing the reality or experiencing the reality pertaining to itself. And the function of a vipassana is to abolish our darkness of delusion. So it's basically having a torchlight in the dark room. And the samsara, the whole birth and the cycle of a birth and a death, is known as the darkness, that we haven't seen the true nature of this world system. So vipassana meditation will help us to recognize that, and from ignorance we will get the vijja, called the wisdom. And the manifestation is basically non-delusional state. And proximate cause is a concentration. So you have a concentrated mind. And again, the important here, it's not about doing. And the practice of a vipassana meditation is not about doing, which normally we have a misunderstanding that we have to do. Here, actually, vipassana meditation is about seeing, not doing, or being, not doing. Make sure this is important. Okay. Now, vipassana meditation and the practice, how do we practice then? So normally we practice vipassana meditation, we concentrate on a body, on feeling, on mind, and the mental qualities. These are the 4 basic place that we practice vipassana meditation. So, and further on, how do we practice that? So we will practice while we are sitting, while we are standing, while we are walking, and while we are lying. These are the main postures that we use to learn vipassana meditation. As you go deeper, you will be able to recognize the rest of the even minor places. Okay, so this is again what the Buddha said in the source. In the discourse, Buddha said that there is this one way to the purification of a being, and these are the 7 benefits that I mentioned early on, and that is called the 4 foundations of mindfulness, and that are body, feeling, so body as body, feeling as feeling, mind as mind, mental qualities as mental qualities. So this is different. Body as body. Normally what we do, body as my body. Feeling is my feeling. Mind, I am thinking. And the whole things that we normally personalize to ourselves. Whereas Buddha is teaching, saying that you have to know body as the body, not body as my body. Feeling as the feeling, not like my feeling or I feel. Mind as mind and mental qualities as mental qualities. So the moment when we able to recognize in this way, that means we are practicing vipassana meditation. Right? And in the Satipatthana Sutta, the body contemplation or body as the body, called Kayanupassana, divided into different levels. The first one comes the practice of a breathing. And here we have been practicing it for a long time. So knowing the qualities of the breath, being conscious of the whole body and calming the body. So this is basically ability to be mindful of the breath as it comes, as it goes, long and short, as it relates to the body, as it and it calms the body. So here, basically talking about the breath body, breath body, as well as breath body calming the physical body. So that this is the first practice in Kayanupassana. And the second practice is the 4 postures. That's I've already mentioned: the walking, sitting, standing, and lying. That we have to combine all these 4 to fulfill the practice of a satipatthana. If you are just sitting, then it won't complete. If we are just walking, then also will not complete. We have to combine all these 4 stages of walking meditation. Only then that fulfills the practice and helps us to recognize and realize the reality. Okay? And the third one is a clear comprehension. So be aware of all the little actions that we take, any stretches, any drinking, eating, even in the toilet, or even going into sleep mode or waking up. So basically, we are mindful all around of the clock. So being wakeful all the time, alert all the time. So that is the clear comprehension called Sampajanyapabba. And from there, we again are not only concentrating on the physical physical movements, but we are now concentrating the entire body, what is made of. So 32 parts of the body. And now here, we are disconnecting from my body to this is a body. So we're taking away from the concept of belongs to me. And that's how we are separating each part and practicing on each part. So that's called 32 parts of a body contemplation. And then from there, what happens is that as we develop our awareness on the 32 parts of a body, we not only separating the body parts, but also going into see that each part is made of these 4 basic elements: the earth, water, fire, and air element. So even like our hand, actually not there isn't a so-called a hand, but let's say hair. Hair is also made of these 4 elements: the earth, water, fire, and air. And in the hair, there is an earth element more than any other elements like that. Okay, so and like a teeth, again, teeth has got more element of earth than any other elements like that. Like a blood has got the air element more than earth element like that. Or even the air like air, when we are releasing a gas, it has got the air element more than the earth element like that. So we will be able to see each and every individual parts in our body actually made out of 4 elements, so that we can see that this body that I said, or I normally perceive it as my body, actually is not my body. It is just a body. So practice of Vipassana meditation is simply developing this understanding of that this is a body, not this is my body. Okay? And this is the last part of the body contemplation, which is called the 9th cemetery contemplation. Basically, how this body dissolves, how this body change to go into the nature, absorbs into the nature. Okay, so that really helps us to disconnect and not holding and not grasping that this is my body. Actually, this is made out of the entire the 4 elements. Okay? So this is the body contemplation that comes in the satipatthana. So I'm trying to cover as much as possible. So I'm running and I try to go fast. If you don't understand, just raise your hand, okay, and question your question if you, or any thing that you want to ask, just ask. Otherwise, I'm just talking with the slides and I go on and on and on the Satipatthana discourse. Okay, so this is the body contemplation. Kaya Nupassana, the first part of the Satipatthana, is here. Okay? Now this comes to the second part, and that is a feeling, a Vedana Nupassana, a feeling. Here is knowing and being aware of the different feelings. So basically there are pleasant feeling that we experience. We are having this painful feelings, and we have neither pleasant nor painful feelings. So this is also one type. And there are also another different types of feeling comes, they call dukkha domanassa and somanassa. So happy feeling and unhappy feelings as well. But here we will just concentrate, just cover on the 3 main feelings. Okay? So when we are contemplating on the feelings, basically pleasant, unpleasant, and neither of these feelings, 3. And among this, in the entire Satipatthana discourse, feeling section is the most shortest version, most short and easy to understand in the Satipatthana, but it is very hard to practice. It's very hard to practice. And in a practice, whenever we experience the pleasant feeling, we are not holding, we are not grasping, we are not liking or wanting it more. Same thing with the painful feeling. We are again not trying to have more. But not resisting it, just letting it be. Whereas in a neither pleasant and nor painful feeling, this is quite interesting one. It's very difficult to experience it, difficult to practice it. Actually, in the practice of a Vipassana meditation, when we see things clearly as they are, then that moment there will be no neither pleasant or a painful feeling. And that is the neutral feeling. Sometimes it is quite close to the upekkha, or equanimous mind, a balanced mind. Okay, so that comes in the 3rd practice. And when we look at in our life, we experience everything through this feeling. We experience everything through this feeling. Whatever we are having in this world and whatever we relate and connect all pass through this feeling. Without this feeling, we will not have this world. So that's why even Buddha said that the world exists because of a feeling, or 6 senses coming to contact with the outside world. And that's how the feeling comes and this world exists. Okay? So this is the feeling section. And the third one, I'm running so fast, okay? So the third one is called a Chittanupassana, or mind as the mind, or mind contemplating on the mind. So here, understanding the different state of the mind. Now we have so many different stages of the mind. In ordinary form, we have mind with a lustful, we have a mind a hateful, a hating mind, a lustful mind, a deluded mind, or feeling very sloth and torpor mind in the negative form, whereas in the positive form, it's free of lust, free of hate, free of deluded mind, and it's this and then contracted. Okay? So free from sloth and torpor, free from restlessness and worry. So that is the positive state of the mind, and this we can look at ourselves too. When things happen, we dislike, we feel hate. When things happen, we like it and we desire, want it. So lust arises like that. And then oftentimes we feel lethargic, oftentimes we feel no energy to do anything, don't want to do anything, and that is the state of the mind too. And I've often another state of the mind that we normally have, the restless mind, thinking too much, thinking of what if not, so goes on with that, or what if it goes in that way, like that. Again, we develop the weighty full mind. So that is the ordinary mind. Now there's another mind, is called a higher mind. We can also experience it when the mind is developed. Suppose when we come to practice of a meditation, initially it was very difficult to pay attention to the breath. But as we practice gradually, our mind, we have developed to pay attention to the breath and able to attain the some form of this energy to pay attention to the breath. And that we can experience too. An undeveloped mind, so mind which wasn't developed, we also will be able to develop that. We see that how concentrated and unconcentrated mind, we can be able to aware of that, and liberated and unliberated. And liberated, suppose when you are feeling so tired and you rest, and when you resting and when you wake up, you feel so relaxed, so liberated, like that state of the mind. So these are the different types of the mind that we can be mindful as well, and understanding that. And understanding again helps us to recognize that this is not my mind, but it is a mind. Okay? And the third one is the Dhammanupassana, which is called also mental qualities. There are a few different qualities comes, and this is the 5 hindrances. If you remember, I mentioned that in the practice of a samatha meditation, we deliberately suppress these 5 hindrances for some times as we are paying attention to the breath or the object of a meditation. These 5 hindrances will be suppressed. As it's suppressed, we attain the calmness. We attain the calmness, but as soon as we come out from the practice, these hindrances will live again. Whereas in the practice of a vipassana meditation, we are not suppressing nor ignoring. It is about freeing ourselves. Yeah? So freeing ourselves from sensual desire, the thought of ill will, the state of a sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry and doubts. So gradually, one after another, we are freeing ourselves from it. Okay? So this is the 5 hindrances that we first come out from it. And that leads to the understanding of this 5 aggregate, which is the second part of the practice of a meditation. And here 5 aggregates are basically referring to our body-mind, which is the Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. Rupa basically means our physical body, a feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness regarded as our mind. So this again is the subject that we will be able to recognize clearly that these are not subject to be attached to, and these are subject to be realized that how much attached I am with these mind body. So you are basically freeing yourself from this mind body phenomena. And that's and this is the 5 aggregates, and it has got quite a detail of explanation, which we can go further in the future if you wish. And the third one is 6 senses, internal and external 6 senses. And here eye, ear, nose, tongue, and mind. And that when I sees an object, ear hear the sound, nose smells, tongue tastes, body comes to contact with objects, and the thoughts that arises. So these 6 senses, how these forms and how these connects and how these arises the other phenomena. So that also we can contemplate on that. So this is the third practice of Dhammanupassana, or mental qualities. And the 5th one is the 7 factors of enlightenment. So this is again one of the important factor that one we has to develop. The first factor is again a sati, or the mindfulness. And this is not a normal sati. This is a high level of a sati that is fully alert and awake, and ability to be recognize any experiences that comes through, and able to wisely investigate. So that is the state of the sati in the 7 factors of enlightenment, called the bojjhangas. And the next one is the 4 noble truth. I think I've explained about 4 noble truth a couple of sections earlier, that practice of a vipassana meditation helps us to understand the 4 noble truth. The truth of dukkha, the truth of the cause of the dukkha, and liberation from it. And that liberation is basically led by the realization of Eightfold Noble Path. Eightfold Noble Path is the main factor of Buddhism. In conclusion, so practice of the 4 foundations of mindfulness will bring one of 2 results. One will be able to attain the arhat in this life. So that basically means freeing yourself from greed, hatred, and delusion, completely liberated, or the state of a non-returner. Non-returner. And the results will come in 7 years, 6 years, 2 years, or the time. This time was given for a person who is genuinely practicing, and that practice, a person who has accumulated enough parameters, the perfections, and enough merits, so that that person will gain the liberation, either of these 2. Okay? In summary, again, the satipatthana is repeatedly practicing or contemplating on the body as the body, feeling as feeling, the mind as mind, and dhammas or phenomena as phenomena. So in the practice, these 3 things to be remembered. Number 1, how do we practice? One more, being ardent. So you are ardently practicing. Atapi, ardently practicing. Here means you are ardently practicing, mean meaning not allowing mind to develop any negative thoughts. And if there is any negative thoughts in your mind, then let them abandon. So uprooting that, and then developing the wholesome qualities, wholesome mind or positive thoughts. And whatever positive thoughts have been developed, we are maintaining it and cultivating it to be more and more. Yeah, so that is the ardent or atapi. The second one is sampajanya. Sampajanya here means ability to comprehend completely in its entirety. So clearly knowing the entire process, how this came into existence and how it proliferated, how it manifested, and then how it fades away. So seeing in its true nature in a full comprehensive way. And as we are comprehending in entirety with our full effort, we are mindful there. So being mindful at that moment. So with that, what happens is that we will be not longing to get it or dissecting from it. So we will have the balanced state of the mind at that very moment. Right? So that is the ways to practice and also results to get these 4 foundations of mindfulness. And when we are practicing it, it's not just in a superficial level. We have to practice in 3-dimensional way, internally, externally, and both internal and externally. Okay, so that is one way of kind of looking into the as a shape, a superficial way. And secondly, we are mindful of it as how it arises and how it vanishes, and how both happens, how both takes place. Even in arising, it has got both. Even in a vanishing, it has got the both. So we are aware of that. And then this is, again, we are not looking outside of ourselves, but we are looking inside ourselves. So looking into, if you remember last session, I mentioned that we are looking in, not outside, looking out. So we are coming from inside, and repeatedly ability to be mindful on these 4 foundations. And that's how we will be free ourselves from the all the things. Right? And this is, again, now coming into the summary. Vipassana is not the practice. It is a way. So satipatthana is a way. Vipassana is a result. So we have to make it clear here. Normally people say that satipatthana is a vipassana. Actually, satipatthana is a way. And when we are practicing on the satipatthana, then vipassana comes. So vipassana is a result of the practice. Okay. So importance of a mindfulness here. I'm just quoting one that King Pasendi is saying and asking the Buddha the benefit of it. That is there any one quality that keeps both kinds of a benefit secure, benefit in the life and benefit in the life to come? And the Buddha said that the mindfulness is the one quality that keeps both kinds of a benefit secure, benefit in this life and benefit in the life to come. So I end here with this. So now I keep my mouth shut to let you have anything to share or anything to ask. Okay, so stop here for a while. If you have anything you want to ask or anything you have things to say on this. So it's a bit hard today.
Yes. It is quite a lot, and it's a very good presentation that you try to shrink and make it short for us. But I think it's 2 hours or 1 hour and a half is not enough for this satipatthana theory session. However, you're going to send it to us, right, for this presentation?
I can send you if you want.
Yes, please. Because I try to take a note, but in time I take some picture. It's interesting and it's more clear for me that when I follow and it's quite clear. But I need to digest more to understand, compare with the practice.
Okay. Actually, the satipatthana, if you chant Pali alone, it takes 1 and 45 minutes, 1 hour and 45 minutes, just to chant, line by line, word by word. So 1 hour and 45 minutes. So I try to summarize as much as I can so that you have an outline of the entire satipatthana. Anybody has got anything to ask on that? There is a very good book. This is a, can you see? Oh. Well, this, okay, let me blur it. Oh, just a minute. Let me have it. See, this book, this is one of the best book on the satipatthana. This was a dissertation done by Bhikkhu Analayo.
Analayo. Okay.
Yeah.
Analayo.
So this is his PhD dissertation, right? And a very good book. That's very good book. Thick, very hard reading. If you want to read, you can find and read. Okay. This is the book. Right. Okay. Anything, Stefan?
Yeah, it's quite difficult today. It's another level.
Yeah. I actually was thinking of doing it for a long time, but having a meeting with everybody, I thought this one is very hard. So I always sift to one topic, try to make it simple form. And then I thought, okay, let's try. And then I realized this is quite hard. But however, you have got the basic idea of what mindfulness meditation according to Buddhism and where it is recorded. And there are two main discourses come. So one is a little bit longer than another one. So one comes in the first book of scripture, which is very long, and a second comes in the second book. And there are one huge chapter dedicated to explain only on a satipatthana. And that chapter has got over 90 ways of explaining it. So that's quite a bit of it. Right, so in that case, if nothing to ask, let's practice then, okay? Let's practice our meditation just to settle your brain. Okay, so bring your attention to the moment here, and you may wiggle yourself just to feel your physical body calm and mindful. Spend some time taking a long breath. Observing yourself and relax the body and the mind. So take a long, deep breath and just relax. And center yourself on paying attention to the breath. And observing the body, the entire body, as just the body, not my body, feeling from inside. When you're feeling this body from inside, observing the entire body. And try to recognize the body is one thing, your feeling is another, and your mind is attending in these two. So you're aware with the help of your mind. A feeling is a bridge between mind and the body. Body alone cannot communicate with the mind. Mind alone cannot observe the body. The feeling is breathing in between, connecting. And remember that every time when your mind is disconnected, that moment you are not aware of the body, you are not presenting yourself in the moment, you are not aware of the feeling. So we may use the breath to begin with our practice. In the meantime, observing the feeling in the body and how we relate with it. In one noticing, we are observing three: body, feeling, and mind. And try to recognize whatever you are observing. When you recognize being face to face with it, you may name it. We call it noting. after you note, accepting it, no avoiding or resistance, simply accepting, attending your awareness to it. And seeing the relationship with the body, feeling, and mind, and how it is arising. So whatever experiences arises, recognizing it, noting, and accepting, allowing it to happen. Inability to understand wisely. Now we'll practice the loving kindness meditation. So relax yourself, bring attention to the breath. Feel the sensations in your body. Feel the beating heart. As you feel the beating heart, generating loving kindness and compassion to yourself. Allowing yourself to be happy, allowing yourself to be free from suffering. Mentally you may recite, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be at peace. Each time, so when you are reflecting on it, try to feel it within yourself, a freedom from all the troubles, whatever that is. Similarly, extending the entire body, the entire feelings and emotions, and letting yourself free. And extending that awareness and the loving kindness and compassion to the all other sentient beings, starting from the dear one, or any particular person that you think they really need it, bringing into your mind and sharing goodwill and kindness to that person. May you be well, may you be happy, may you be at peace, may you be free from suffering. And extending it to the entire beings in the entire world, starting from the dear one, whoever near next to you, sitting around, in the house, in the city, in the country, on earth, and in the universe, or whatever beings there are. May they be well, may they be happy, may they be free from suffering, free from hurtfulness, hatred, calamities. May they be liberated. May all beings be well and happy. So bringing your attention back to your body, feel the sensations in your body. And bring your attention to your eyes. Feel the tension in your eyes and intention to open your eyes. And open your eyes. Slowly come out from the practice. Okay, so thank you everyone. We have a couple of minutes to share. Floor is open. If you have anything to share, you're welcome before we finish. Okay. What upon?
Just would like to thank you. Thank you, Parasam, very much that you prepare all the satipatthana and Sutta. All that we have learned today, I think we need to digest deeply again. It's very interesting and very useful, and I can see very deep, particularly this one. And we will continue to practice, and we have already went through that path. This is the part of it that you put in the purpose, I think. So nothing special to share for me. Just would like to say thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, in that case, we will end today's practice then. Is that okay? A little early, yeah? So thank you, Stefan. And today we don't hear went very quiet.
I have no voice.
Oh.
I can't talk.
All right.
We get to join us because I'm very hard night.
I'm going incognito. I can't talk. But thank you. Very interesting. But please send the presentation so we can go through again, following all what you talk. So that'll be great. Thank you.
Let me revise that. I saw a few slides repeating, so we'll revise it and we'll send it to you. Yeah.
I would like to say thank you to all my friends today that to join. And if you continue to join us next month, also in April, so it's going to be the 23rd in April.
Okay. Right. In that case, thank you, everyone, and wish you all the best. And hopefully, you all can continuing practice. And who knows, maybe next month when I come back, you're all enlightened. Wish you all have a good health and successful life. Thank you.